Hi everyone, hope you all must be doing great. So today we are starting with another topic that is called advanced tax, and it is one of the easiest topic of income tax, right? So we should know what is advanced tax. We should know that who is liable to pay advanced tax. We should also know when this advanced tax liability arises. And the last point is that if we don't pay our advanced tax, so what are the consequences, right? So first of all, understand what is advanced tax and when this liability arises. So this provision says that if your tax liability is 10,000 rupees or more, if your tax liability is 10,000 rupees, even if it is 10,000 rupees, then advanced tax liability can arise, right? 10,000 rupees or more, then you are supposed to pay advanced tax. So how we will calculate this 10,000 rupees? I'll give you an example. Let me give you a quick example. Let's say there is an assessee who is earning income. For example, let's say he is having a salary income. So this is Mr. A, and this person is having a salary income. For example, he is earning salary income. This is computed. Everything is computed. Let's say his total income comes to 10 lakh rupees, and his tax liability comes to rupees. I'm taking it very randomly. Let's say it comes to rupees 1,17,000, right? Whatever the method is, either it is old regime, optional regime, or it is default tax regime, whatever the method is. Let's say the tax liability is 1,17,000. So some student might say, sir, now the tax liability is 10,000 rupees or more. It is 1,17,000. So we have to pay advance tax. The thing is that whatever is your tax liability, from this tax liability, you have to deduct if there is any TDS which has been deducted, or if there is any TCS which has been collected, you have to deduct that amount also, right? If there is any TDS which has been deducted or any TCS which has been collected, plus please deduct that amount, right? After that, you have to see this amount, whether this amount is 10,000 rupees or more. And if it is yes, even if it is 10,000 rupees or more, then you can say advanced tax liability will arise. So in this case, so let's say this Mr. A is a salaried person, he's getting a salary, let's say of rupees 10 lakh. His tax liability comes to rupees 1,17,000. And let's say his TDS is deducted by the employer. Under section 192, we understand employer will deduct TDS, right? So let's say 1,17,000 rupees has already been deducted through TDS. So how much would be the tax payable? The answer is zero, right? Because everything has been deducted through it, TDS, by the provision of TDS or TCS, right? Here it was TDS. So his tax payable comes to zero. So in that case, this person is not liable to pay advance tax. Why? Because whatever is the tax liability after considering TDS and TCS, this amount is not more than 10,000 rupees. So this person, in fact, here it was zero. Even if this would have been 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, up till 9,999, then advance tax liability will not arise. Advance tax liability will only arise if it is 10,000 rupees or more. That's it, simple. So this is advance tax. Every person is covered, every type of assessee, whether that person is an individual, HUF, AOP, whatever the type of assessees, they are covered by advance tax liability. One important point is that only relaxation is being given. Only relaxation is being given to a person who is a senior citizen. And you understand, whenever the senior citizen comes into picture, we only want resident senior citizen. So if the person is a resident senior citizen, that is 60 years or more, plus that person does not have PGBP income. This person should not have PGBP income. Even if their tax payable is 10,000 rupees or more, in that case, advance tax liability will not arise. So this is something which is very important. This is one of the favorite questions of examiner. They usually ask this in MCQ. So who is not liable to pay advance tax? Actually, all types of assessee are liable to pay advance tax if their tax payable is 10,000 rupees or more. But if this person is a resident senior citizen, plus they don't have income from PGBP, they can have income from any other head also. Like they can have income from salary, house property, capital gain, IFRS, that will do. But if they have income from PGBP, then they will be liable. But if they don't have income from PGBP, then they are relaxed from advance tax liability, right? See, so if you look into your book, Liability for payment of advance tax. Every person is liable to pay advance tax if the advance tax payable is 10,000 rupees or more. And this above provisions are not applicable. This is very important if this person is a resident senior citizen and if they do not have income from PGBP, right? So what is the advance tax payable? I have already discussed. Whatever is your tax on total income, you have to deduct TDS or TCS, which is actually deducted or collected. Please deduct that amount. Then you have to see whether this the amount which is remaining, that is tax payable, it is 10,000 rupees or more. If it is yes, even if it is 10,000, I'm saying, repeating again and again, even if it is 10,000 rupees, you have to pay advance tax. Why? Right? How we will be paying advance tax, I'll be telling you that also. First of all, understand if we don't pay our advance tax, so what are the consequences which will arise? So if let's say I am liable to pay advance tax, and if I don't pay my advance tax, so some interest will be levied under section, first it is under section 234C will be levied, and also there might be cases where 234B can also be levied in that case. So there are two interests. I'll be discussing these two sections also. These are simple sections. 234C and 234B can be attracted if I will not pay my advance tax liability, or even if I pay my advance tax liability but I pay it very less. If I pay, if let's say I have to pay 1 lakh rupees, but I have only paid 10,000 rupees, 20,000 rupees, 30,000 rupees. That is even in the case of short payment. Even in the case of short payment, then these sections could be attracted. There is one more provision also of interest, 234A. But 234A is not because of advance tax. I'll be telling you this particular provision is also of 234A. 234A is also interest, but this interest is levied to any person who does not file their return on time. So if you are not filing your return on time, then interest under section 234A will be charged, right? But for advance tax, these are the two sections. For advance, if you are not paying your advance tax, then 234C or 234B can be charged, and 234A can be on any person. Even this 234A can arise to this person also, right? Because 234A is not related to advance tax. 234A is related if the person is not submitting their return on time, then 234A will be attracted, right? So note, if the advance tax liability is less than 10,000 rupees, then interest under section 234B or C are not levied. Obviously, if it is less than 10,000 rupees for these kind of people or any person for which the tax liability is less than 10,000, then 234B and C will not be attracted. Why? Because 234B and C are only related to advance tax. So if someone is not liable to pay advance tax, why these section will be attracted? But 234A something else. 234A gets attracted not because of advance tax, it gets attracted because if you are filing your ROI late. I'll be discussing all these three sections also with you. Okay. Now understand what are the installments of advance tax. This is something important and you should know this. So when we have to pay advance tax liability, advance tax is something which you have to pay during the previous year itself. We also call advance tax as pay as you earn, scheme. Pay as you earn, as the time, the year in which you are earning the income, that is the previous year. In the previous year itself, you have to pay advance tax, right? So we have to pay advance tax in 4 installment. First installment is up to 15th of June. You can pay before 15th June also, but 15th June is the due date of the first installment. So even if you would like to pay on 14th June, on 13th June or 12th June, it's fine with us. But 15th June is the due date of first installment. And if you are not paying before this 15th June, you are paying it after that, then we'll be charging interest under section 234C. So first you should understand that there are 4 due dates, there are 4 installments which you have to pay. Every quarter you have to pay. But the first quarter is not after June, it is in June itself, 15th of June. So you should know these particular dates. 15th June, after 3 months, it would be 15th September, 15th December, and 15th March. You have to pay your advance tax liability in 4 installments. Got it? How much you have to pay? Up to 15th of June, at least 15% of your advance tax liability should have been paid. So it means that, let's say your advance tax liability comes to rupees, let's say this amount is, let's say 1 lakh, sorry, give me a moment. Let's say this amount comes to whatever is your tax payable after TDS or TCS. Let's say it comes to rupees 1 lakh rupees. So how much you have to pay in the first installment? First installment should go on 15th of June. So you should pay at least 15%. 15% of this amount you should pay, right? So if you think that you have to pay 1 lakh rupees as tax payable, so at least you have to pay 15% of this amount up till 15 June. If you will pay 15% or more, then it is fine. But if you will pay less, then we are going to charge you interest that is under 234C. So here at least pay 15,000 rupees, right? In second installment will be after 3 months. So after 3 months, if you count 3 months from this particular date, from June onwards, so you will get 15th of September. So by 15th September of the assessment year or the previous year itself, because this is advanced tax. Advanced tax is something which is paid during the previous year, right? If you are paying in the assessment year, that is called self-assessment tax. So this is advanced tax is something, that is the reason we are calling it advanced tax. It is being paid in the previous year itself. Getting it? So second installment you should pay by 15th September of previous year. How much it should be paid? At least 45%. So should you pay 45,000 rupees? Up till 45,000 rupees you should pay by this date. So if you have already paid 15,000 rupees, so how much you will pay? Government says, income tax department says that at least 45% of our advance tax liability should be submitted over here. So if you have not paid anything, then pay 45,000 rupees here. But if you have already paid 15,000 rupees, so how much it should be deposited to the government? 45%. That is, if you ask 1 lakh into 45%, that would be 45,000 rupees should be deposited. And you have already paid any amount earlier also, let's say 15,000 rupees. So please deposit the remaining amount, that is 30,000. So it makes 45,000, right? So 15,000 you have already deposited, 30,000 rupees you are depositing right now. If you aggregate this, you will get 45,000. So government wants that 45% of your tax should be deposited, right? Third installment is simple. Next 3 months will be on 15th December of previous year itself. So how much it should be deposited? So up to 75%. Up to 75%, please deposit it. So if you have deposited anything before also, then we just calculate 75% of that amount. That is 1 lakh into 75% would be 75,000. Whatever you have deposited earlier, please deduct that and pay the remaining amount so that the total can make up to 75%. Got it? And the last installment is fourth installment. That should be that is after 3 months, 15th of March of previous year itself. So in our case, it should be by 15th March of 2024. You should deposit this, right? How much? 100%. So whatever is your advance tax liability, that is 1 lakh rupees, you should deposit it. Whatever you have deposited in earlier installments, please deduct that so that the total comes to, at least if you will aggregate, the total comes to rupees. That should be 100%. That is in this case 1 lakh rupees in this case. Getting it? So you should know how much amount you should deposit it. Second thing is that, which is very important, which can come in your examination. Are all SSCs are required to deposit their advance tax liability in these 4 installments? The answer is generally yes. If their advance tax liability is 10,000 and more or more, then they should deposit this installments in 4 installments, 15%, 45, 75, 100 as the case may be. But please remember this, I have already discussed in the chapter of PGBP also. If the person is following presumptive taxation, if the person is following presumptive taxation scheme, and we understand we did 3 sections. We did 44AD, right? 44ADA, professionals 50%, right? And 44AE. 44A is related to the person who is not having more than 10 goods vehicle, right? So if the person is following presumptive taxation scheme, presumptive income scheme, in that case, if the person is falling under these 2 sections, in these 2 sections, 44AD and 44ADA, then he is required, that person, that assessee is required to pay advance tax liability only in 1 installment, that is last installment. So for these people who are following 44AD and 44ADA, so for them only 1 installment would be applicable. So they have to pay only in 1 installment, that is the last installment, on 15th of March of previous year, that is 15th March 2024 in our case, right? So this is also important. Please remember, if the person is following presumptive taxation scheme, presumptive taxation income scheme under any of the section, no, only those 2 sections, 44AD and 44ADA. In that case, only 1 installment will be applicable. But if the person is following 44AE, that is for goods carriage vehicle, right? In that case, all four installments will be levied. In that case, all four installments will be applicable. Please remember this. This is something very important. I have written this also in the book. See, assessee opting for presumptive basis income. So if the assessee is following 44 AD, right, that retail business, or 44 ADA, notified professions, so only one installment in that case, 31st March of previous year. But if the person is following presumptive income scheme under section 44 AE, goods carriage vehicle, then all four installments would be applicable in that case, right? Got it? So up to 15th of June, if it is 44 installment, up to 15th June, 15% of advance tax liability. Up to 15th September, this is something which is very important. That is the reason I'm repeating it again and again. So up till 15th of September, 45%. Whatever if you have already paid in the previous installments, you can deduct that amount so that the total can come to 45%. Up to 45% you should deposit. If it is up third installment, 75%, fourth installment, 100% of the advance tax liability should be deposited. Whatever you have paid earlier, you can minus that, and whatever is the remaining amount, you can deposit it here so that the total aggregate can come up to 100%. Getting it? Right? Okay. Now there is a section 234C. This section will be applicable if you don't deposit your installments correctly. If you are either not depositing it at all, or you are depositing a short amount, a lower amount if you are depositing. So whatever the amount which you are paying short, then in that case you have to pay interest also under section 234C. So 234C is applicable if the interest is payable on late installments. If you don't pay your installments, or you pay your installments late. So let's say if someone is, the first installment was due on 15th of June. So if someone is paying on 16th of June, then that person is paying late. In that case also 234C will be levied. Even if this person is paying on 16th of June, then also interest will be levied, right? Or let's say this person has paid up to 15th June, but he has not paid 15%. Let's say he has just paid 5%, 6%, 7%, 8%. In that case also he has paid short amount. So whatever amount which he has deposited it short, on that amount we will be going to charge interest, right? So this is 234C. It says the rate of interest would be 1% per month. Remember, the rate of interest would be 1% per month on short payment of installment. So 1% per month is fixed. If you do not deposit your first installment, either you do not deposit it by 15th of June, or you deposit it late or short. So whatever is the short payment which you have made, we will calculate that short payment and we will charge 1% interest on that. And for how many months? That is fixed. This is important. Even if you have deposited on 16th of June, even if you have deposited after one day, we will going to charge exactly 3 months interest. So this is important. These months are fixed in this case. So for first installment, whatever you have deposited short, then please take that amount, please calculate that amount, charge 1% per month into 3 months would be fixed. In that case, please multiply it by 3. This would be the interest under section 234C for this installment. Second installment, you should deposit it up to 45%. So whatever you have deposited earlier, if it is coming up to 45%, then there will be no interest. This interest will only be coming up whenever you are paying less amount to the income tax department. So it should be 45%, but let's say you have paid just 30%, or you have paid very less amount. So we will calculate the difference. So whatever is the differences, we will be going to calculate 1% on that, and exactly for 3 months. Here also 75% same way for 3 months. But on the last installment, we will be calculating for 1 month only. Why 1 month? Because here we are calculating from 15th of March, because you should deposit it by 15th of March, right? So here we are calculating from 15th March till 31st March. So it is just coming 15 or 16 days. So, right, it is coming just 16 days in that case. So we understand part of the month, we take it as full month. So here we will be calculating only for 1 month. Please remember, here it is 3, here it is 3, here it is 3, and here it is 1. And you understand the logic also, because here 3 months, we are counting it from June to September. Here we are calculating from September to December. Here we are calculating from September December to March. So here it is 3 months, but here we are calculating from 15th of March till 31st of March. So it is just even not it is not exact 1 month also, but we will calculate for the entire month. That is the reason we are taking it only for 1 month. So please remember, here it is 1 month. right? And whatever is the shortfall, please round off. So whatever is the difference comes, whatever is the shortfall, if this difference is not rounded up to the nearest 100, please round off to the 100. And any fraction of that, please ignore the fraction. Only take 100 in the multiples of 100. Let's say you are supposed to deduct, let's say 15% of your advance tax liability comes to rupees. Let's say it comes to rupees 18,000. And let's say you have paid 8,342. You have paid 8,342. So first of all, tell me what is the difference. So the difference comes out to be 18,000 minus 8,342. The difference comes out to be 9,658, right? This is the short payment which you have made. So we have to calculate 1% per month interest. Let's say it is for this installment, we have to calculate 1% for 3 months. 3 months would be fixed, I have already said. But this 9,658, how you will take this 9,658? Any fraction of 100 you have to ignore. Any fraction of 100 you have to ignore. So please ignore 58. So in this case, it would be 9,600. It would be 9,600. Even this would have been 9,699. I'll ignore the part of that fraction. So I'll be taking it 9,600, right? You don't have to round it off to the next number, right? So you have to ignore that fraction and please take only round it off to the near to the 100 and ignoring any fraction, right? Second thing which is very important, 234C is giving some relaxation in these two installments. In these first two installment, 234C is giving a relaxation. What type of relaxation? 234 says, although you were supposed to deposit 15% of the tax, but even if you have deposited 12%, then it is fine with us. Even if you have deposited 12%, then it is fine with us. We are not going to charge interest on first installment, even if you have deposited 12%. But if you have not deposited 12%, then whatever is the short amount, we're going to charge interest on that. So 12% is just to check whether the interest will be coming up in this particular installment or not. So just check 12%. If it is even 12%, then don't charge interest. But if it is not even 12%, it is less than 12% which you have deposited, then whatever is the short amount, right? So the difference you will be calculating by 15%, right? The difference you will be calculating by 15%. So 12% is just to check that whether you will be charging interest or not, right? In second installment also 234C is giving a relaxation. 234C says that here we will, although you were supposed to pay 45%, but even if you have paid 36%, even you have paid just 36%, we are okay with that. We are okay with it. If you have paid 36%, 37%, 38%, we are okay. We will not be charging interest on second installment, right? But these relaxation is only for these two installment. Here we require 75%. Even if you have deposited 74%, there is no relaxation. We are going to charge interest, correct? So relaxation on the first two installment, for first installment, even you have paid 12%, we are okay with it. We are not going to charge interest. Second installment, even if it is 36%, we are not going to charge interest. Got it? Easy. And this is again important for 234C. 234C will not be levied if the shortfall, let's say if you have made, okay, let me give you an example. Let's say there is an assessee, Mr. X. Let's say this person has assumed that his total income would be whatever amount, let's say 10 lakh rupees, okay. And this person has assumed that his tax liability would be 1,17,000. This person has assumed that his tax liability would be 1,17,000. This is a random figure which I have taken, right? And there was no TDS. How much TDS would be? This is not salary, right? This is not salary. So how much TDS has been would be deducted? Let's say there is no TDS provision, there is no TCS provision also in on his income, and let's say he has presumed that he has to pay 1,17,000 rupees. So let's say in the first installment on 15th of June, this person is a very genuine assessee, and he was following all the compliances also. So this person has already calculated that I have to pay tax approximately of 1,17,000 rupees. So on 15th June of 2023, he was saying that I have to pay 15%, and this person has also deposited 15%. So how much is 15%? 1,17,000 into 15%. This person has deposited 17,550, considering that I have to pay 15%. He's a very genuine assessee. In second installment also, on 15th of September 2023, this person knows that I have to deposit up to 45%. So calculate 1,17,000 into 45%. That comes to 52,650. He has to deposit, but he has already, this is total 45,000, right? Sorry, this is total 45%. So he has already deposited 52,650. 650 he has to deposit, but 17,550 he has already deposited in earlier installment. So how much he has deposited here? He has deposited the remaining amount, 35,100. So if you will aggregate these two, this will come to 45%, right? In the third installment also, in the third installment also, on 15th of December 2023, this person has deposited 75%, right? How much it is? 1,17,000 into 75%. That is, he should deposit 8,750, and whatever he has deposited earlier, he will deduct that. 17,550 was deposited on this installment, 35,100 was deposited on this installment. He will deduct off these two, minus 17,550 minus 35,100, 35,100. Okay, he has deposited here also, and this person was a very genuine assessee. But let's say on 18th of December, let's say he has sold his land. He was not in a mood of selling his land, but let's say there is some buyer who visits him and he says that I'll give you a good price of this land, and he thought that he should sell this land. So he was not in a mood to sell the land initially, right? He was not in a mood, but there was a buyer, and that buyer was giving him a very good sum of that land. So he sold this land. So on that land, let's say this person has earned LTCG of rupees 20 lakh. This person has earned LTCG of 20 lakh. So that he has not considered earlier. Why? Because this type of income was not something which can be predetermined, right? So this type of income, like capital gain income, casual income, can come anytime, right? So you have not actually planned this type of income, but this income can arise anytime. So this person has not paid. This person has not considered this income while calculating this advance tax. So if you will calculate this income, so his earlier income was 10 lakh rupees. So if you will include this 20 lakh also, so it would be 30 lakh, and accordingly the tax will be higher. Let's say the tax will be around, let's say 5 lakh rupees. I'm taking a very random figure. This is 5 lakh rupees. This would be his tax. Right? How this I have calculated this 5 lakh? No, I have not calculated it. This is just a very random figure. So here, if his tax liability comes to rupees 5 lakh rupees, so in that case, assessing officer will say, sir, on the first installment, you should deposit at least 15% of this 5 lakh. Of this 5 lakh, you should deposit. That is how much? 5 lakh into 15%, it should be 75,000. You should have deposited at least 75,000. And you have deposited just 17,550. So you have deposited a very lower amount, right? You have a deposit short amount. So I'll be going to charge 234C in that case. But tell me, this would be a hardship on this particular assessee, because this assessee was quite genuine. He was genuinely depositing his advance tax liability, but he was not aware that whether this type of capital gain income will arise or not in the future, right? So this can be determined only when this has actually occurred, right? We cannot determine that. We cannot predetermine such type of income. So here, income tax has also given a relaxation to such types of income. Here 234C says that if assessee has income during the previous year, anything like capital gain, or if that person has casual income or dividend income or any new business income, in that case, we are not going to charge 234C unless and until this person has actually earned such type of income. So in this case, So I believe that you remember this provision also. So interest under section 234C will not be levied if shortfall is due to capital gain. It is due to capital gain. It is due to casual income like winning from lottery, etc. Dividend income other than, please, but remember here dividend income. If you are earning dividend income, let's say because you are not aware whether that company will declare dividend or not, right? So dividend, for dividend income, we can give relaxation. But if that dividend is in the nature of 222E, then we are not going to give you the relaxation, right? And the last one is first time income under the head PGPP. Let's say if there is a very new business in that case, then also we are going to give you a relaxation. So these type of income, please understand these four types of income: capital gain income, casual income, dividend income other than 222E, and first time income under the head PGBP. So if this income is arising in this case during the previous year, then we are going to give you a relaxation. We will not be charging interest under section 234C with respect to tax on this income, because assessee was not aware that whether that he will be earning such type of income during the previous year or not, right? Because we cannot determine this type of income in advance. So this is an important provision under section 234C. Next section is 234B. Okay, I'll tell you what is 234B. 234B arises only when our advance tax liability which has been paid is less than 90%, right? So it says that, let's say there is an assessee, Mr. A. Let's say he was supposed to pay his advance tax rupees 2 lakh. And during this previous year, our previous year is 23-24, and during this previous year, let's say this person has deposited short amount. How much he has deposited? Let's say he has deposited 1,92,000 rupees. So he was supposed to pay 2 lakh rupees, but he has deposited advance tax, that is 1,92,000. What is advance tax? Anything which is deposited during the previous year. I'm again repeating. Anything which you deposit during the previous year, that is called advance tax. If you deposit after the previous year, then it is not advance tax. 234B arises. 234B arises. Students, 234B arises whenever you don't pay your advance tax up to 90%. So we have to check whether 90% is paid or not. So in this case, you were supposed to pay 2 lakh rupees, but you have paid only 1,92,000. Tell me how much percent you have paid. So simple, if we will calculate 1,92,000 divided by 2 lakh, it would be into 100. It would be 96%. Although we understand that you have deposited 8,000 rupees short, you have deposited 8,000 rupees less, but it is 90% or more in that case. It is how much? 96%. So if we have deposited at least 90%, 234B is okay with us. That section is not going to charge interest. So first of all, you should understand that whether you should bring 234B into picture or not. So first of all, please understand that how much, please ask the assessee how much advance tax has been deposited. So if the advance tax would have been deposited, let's say the advance tax would have been deposited 1,72,000 rupees. So in that case, it was supposed to be deposited 2 lakh, but the assessee, our assessee has just deposited 1.72. So how much percent, if we calculate the percent of 1,72,000 divided by 2 lakh into 100, so it would be less than 90%, right? It would be 86%. This would be 86%. So in this case, if this would have been 90%, this fraction comes, this percentage comes to 90%, 234B will not be charged in that case. But if it is less than 90%, 234B will be attracted. So in this case, how much short amount you have paid? Sir, we were supposed to pay 2 lakh rupees. We have, in this case, we have just paid 172. How much short you have paid? 28,000. So in this case, we are going to charge interest on this 28,000, right? So first of all, please understand when this 234B will be attracted. So first of all, calculate 90%. At least, if it is at least 90% advance tax which you have paid. Let's say if you have paid on 16th of March. Some students might get confused on this also. Let's say if RSSE has paid on 16th of March 2024. Sir, he has paid after that installment. The installment was 15th of March, but he has paid on 16th of March. This is also advanced tax because I have just said anything which is paid during the previous year, anything which is paid, let's say in previous year 23-24, anything is paid during this particular year is advanced tax. Even if you have paid on 31st March 2024, this would have been advanced tax. I'll give you a very extreme example. Let's say there is an assessee, Mr. X, whose advance tax liability was, let's say, rupees 3 lakh. In first installment, he has not paid anything. In second installment, he has not paid anything. In third installment, he has not paid anything. In fourth installment, he has not paid anything. Whether 234C, that is late payment of installments, will get attracted, obviously, yes. 234C will be attracted. We'll be charging 15%, then we'll be 1% for 3 months, here also 3 months, here also 3 months, in last 1 month, right? 234C will be attracted. There is no issue in 234C. But fourth installment was due on 15th of March, right? But on, let's say, 18th March 2024, is it during the previous year? Yes, sir, this is during the previous year. Our previous year for examinations is 23-24, right? This is our previous year. So tell me whether it is paid during the previous year. The answer is yes, sir. On, let's say, on 18th March 2024, this person has paid 2,85,000. This person has paid 2,85,000. So you have to tell me whether interest of 234C will be attracted or not, or whether interest of 234B will be attracted or not. So first of all, 234C will be attracted. Why? Because he has not paid the installment amount. Even if he has paid the amount, but if it is less paid, then also 234C will be attracted. So here he has not paid, 234C will be attracted. There is no question for that, right? Tell me whether 234B will be attracted or not. So for 234B, you have to see whatever is his tax liability, how much it was, 3 lakh rupees. How much he has deposited as advance tax. Please tell me, sir, you will say, sir, he has deposited 18th on 18th March 2024. That is after this due date. Please don't look at this due date. You just have to see whether this amount is deposited during the previous year or not. So anything which is deposited on even on 31st March 2024, guys, that is also advance tax. If you deposit on 1st April 2024, that is not advance tax, because that is, you are depositing after the previous year. That is an assessment year you are depositing. That is called self-assessment tax. But anything which you deposit during the previous year, that is called advance tax. So is this an advance tax? The answer is yes, because it is being deposited during this year. So this is an advance tax. So tell me whether 234B will be attracted or not. So simple, you have to apply that 90% funda. You have to just apply that 90% provision. So tell me how much advance tax he has deposited, sir. 2,85,000. 2,85,000. Calculate the percentage. How much he was supposed to be deposit? So 3 lakh rupees into 100. So how much it would be? 285 divided by 300 percentage. It is 95%. So it is 90% or more. 234B will not be attracted in that case. Please don't charge 234B interest. You will charge 234C interest, no doubt, because installments were getting late, right? But 234B will not be charged. Why? Because you have paid at least 90% or more. If it is exactly 90%, then also 234B will not apply. But if it is less than 90%, then 234B is going to charge. So here we will not charge 234B. Got it? So 234B says that any amount, if you have deposited up to 90%, 230B will not come into picture. But if it is less than 90%, 234B will come into picture. So coming to my previous example, let's say this person was supposed to deposit 2 lakh rupees, but he has deposited 1,72,000 rupees. So we have calculated the percentage, which is not 90%, it is less than 90%. So in this case, 234B will be attracted. How much it will be attracted? We will see how much is the short amount which you have paid. So you were supposed to pay 2 lakh, you have paid 172. So how much short you have paid? 28,000 rupees. So 234B will say, whatever is the short amount, first of all, it was less than 90%. So 234, now forget that 90%. You have to just see 90% provision to attract whether 234B will be attracted or not, right? So once it is attracted, forget that 90%. Now see whatever is the short amount. So the short amount is 28,000 into 1%, into 1%. For how many months you have to calculate? Up to, actually technically in the section it is written up to the date of assessment you have to calculate to the date of assessment, but they were actually assessment procedure is not in CA intermediate course, it is in CA final course. So generally you have to see for your CA intermediate examination, you have to see whenever you will be depositing this amount. So let's say you have deposited this amount, this 28,000 rupees you have deposited on 30th of June, 30th of June 2024 you have deposited. So 234B interest always starts from 1st April. So from the 1st April of the assessment year. So from 1st April 2024 till 30th of June, it is April, May, June, 3 months. If this would have been 25th June, you understand part of the month will be taken as full month, then again 3 months. So in this case, 28,000 into 1% into 3 months. So whenever you have paid this amount, you have to calculate up to that date. If there is a fraction of month, please take it as a complete month. Please take it as a complete month, right? So generally, if it is not given that whenever you have deposits for your intermediate, you can understand up to the date of return also, because generally, practically what happens whenever we submit our returns, at that time we deposit our tax also. So if nothing in your intermediate, they will give you the date of return. So please consider for an examination purpose, consider that whenever you are depositing the return, you are paying the tax. So if they have given any date which is earlier than the return date, let's say the return date was 31st of July 2024, but the assessee has deposited the tax on 25th of June. So will you be calculating, please apply your logic, will you be calculating the interest up to 31st July? The answer is no, because government wants that, government wants the money, government wants the tax. So if they have realized the tax in the month of June itself, why they will be charging the interest for July, right? So we have to take it up till the date of payment. So if the date of payment is not mentioned in your examination, then you can take it up to the date of return, right? Technically it is up to the date of assessment, but assessment procedure is not there in your examination, so they will not give you assessment date, right? So they will give you either the return date or the payment date, right? So if it is return date, take up to return date, but if it is earlier you have paid any amount, so in that case take only up to the date of payment, right? So this 234B. 234B says if the advance tax paid is less than 90%, it is less than 90%, then only 234B will be attracted, that we have discussed in detail. Right. Then section 234B interest will be levied at 1% per month or part of the month. Please, I've already discussed part of the month. Please take it as a complete month. So if it is 2 months, 2 months, 1 day, please take it as 3 months. Please take it as 3 months. So start date is from 1st April of the assessment year. End date, technically it is as per the law, it is as per the date of assessment, but assessment procedures are not an intermediate course. So in your examination, with either the examiner will give you the date of payment or the examiner will give you the date of return of income, then please take that date, right? So if self-assessment tax is paid up to the date of payment, then you have to take the payment. That I have already written. Let's say if you have before assessment or before filing the return, if you have paid your entire tax, let's say you have not paid that amount up till 31st March, right? But you are paying the amount, let's say in the month of April. So government wants interest only for 1 month. Why they will be charging interest up to 31st July or 31st October? They will be charging up to the date when you have paid. This is very logical, right? So amount on which interest is charged, you understand whatever is your assessed tax minus your advance tax paid if any. So let's say your assessed tax was 2 lakh rupees, but you have paid just 80,000 rupees, which is less than 90%. So whatever is the difference, this is the difference. Your assessed tax was 2 lakh, but you have paid 80,000 rupees. So government wants interest on 1,20,000 rupees. Got it? So this is 234B. Next section is 234A. Tell me, I've already told you about 234A. 234A is levied because you have not paid the advance tax? No, 234 is levied if you have not filed your return on time and your tax is not paid. Your tax is not paid, then 234A will be levied, right? So interest for default in furnishing ROI, interest will be levied at 1% per month or part of the. Here also the rate of interest is 1% per month, part of the month, you understand. If it is 3 months, let's say if you have deposited your return late by 2 months, 3 days, then please take it as 3 months, right? If you have deposited your return late, let's say by 6 months, 29 days, again 7 months. Always you have to go to the next month. Part of the month shall be considered as full month. Start date would be next day from the date of due date of ROI, because here we need 234A will be attracted only when you are not submitting your return on time, right? So it will start from the next day from the due date. So let's say your due date is 31st of July. So 234A will be attracted from, will be charged from 1st of August onwards. So let's say if your due date is 31st October, then it will be starting from, the interest will be starting from 1st of November. So next day from the due date of ROI, end date up to the date of furnishing of ROI. Till the time you furnish your return, we'll be going to charge the interest. So this is 1% per month, right? And amount of tax not paid up to the due date of ROI will charge interest on that. So let's say assessee was supposed to pay tax of rupees 1 lakh, but till due date, let's say he has paid just 60,000 rupees. So how much interest will be charging 1% on what amount? 40,000 rupees, obviously. Why? Not on 1 lakh, sir. 60,000 rupees was already deposited before the due date. So whatever the amount which is short paid up to the due date, we'll be charging that interest on that particular uh, amount, right? Although 234A is not that important for, if you look at the past year papers. So 234A is generally examiner will not ask, but yes, 234B and especially 234C is something which is very important. Please remember this for your MCQ, that relaxation could be provided only for first two installment. How much? If it is even 12%, then we will say 234C interest will not be levied on first installment. For second, although you were supposed to pay 45%, but even if you have paid 36%, relaxation will be provided in these two installments. But here you are supposed to pay 75%, but if you have paid 74% also, relaxation will not be provided. Second thing, this was important, that these types of income 234C will not be levied unless and until you earn such income. And another important point is that 234, this advance tax liability will arise if your advance tax liability is 10,000 rupees or more. And for these type of people, resident, senior citizen, plus they do not have income from BGBP, advance tax liability will not arise in their case. So this was about advance tax, a very short and easy topic, but again, an important can come. Even MCQ can come on this particular topic, right? So I'll see you in the next lecture. Till then, thank you so much. Bye and take care.